Welcome back to another episode, everyone. Today is a little bit different. We're just kind of talking. We're going to be talking about tip-up alarms. For the majority of it, I have a system here called the Vulture system. I'll tell you a little bit about it here in a second, but I have a question for you guys first. I need advice. I need advice on tip-up setups because I want to keep this finesse style setup that I have here. You know, I like to run usually like a 20-inch leader on these, like as long as my IFish Pro Rods are, but I've shrunk it because what I have learned by pointing a live scope at a tip-up setup is, no matter how small that sucker minnow is, like we were using sucker minnows that were like just big fat heads this weekend, and a walleye would come in to look at it, and that thing wouldn't just like swim, you know, the distance of the weight, and that weight, you know, this is a 3/4 ounce weight here. It wouldn't just do that and then that's it. No. That minnow would swim straight up the water column and take the weight with it. Like it was swimming up. You know, last year when I first started to see it and realize it, we were in 15 feet of water. The minnow was almost underneath the ice, and they can stay there for a long time. So my question for you guys is what you would do for that tip-up setup. Trying to keep it as finesse as possible, right? Like this is a single hook setup. This is as finesse as you can get. My first option, the thing I'm gonna try this weekend and point a live scope at it, hopefully get you guys some clips. I'm gonna run a tungsten jig head on the bottom and see if that can hold them in place. But I'm looking for advice. What would you guys do? Do you just say, screw the finesse-ness and just, you know, it's more important to have that minnow stay in place, get just a little bit of escape room, so you're gonna pin it with weights. What do you think the best option is for that setup? Just need to get more walleyes than what I would have never known. Without a live scope, I would have never known what my minnows were doing down there, escaping these walleyes. It's not that they weren't eating, they were just too lively. So first part of this video is just, what would you guys do? Give me some advice. Do you just bail on the finesse-ness completely and just stack it up with weight so it can't move around? Do you have any of you clipped a minnow's tail before? Has that helped at all? Just let me know down below. But ultimately, that is my tip-up setups in a nutshell. And on top of those tip-up setups, I run, I should say, a system called the Vulture. Vultures, I don't know, what is it, just Vulture? Just Vulture. The Vulture tip-up alarm. To tell you why I love these so much, I gotta tell you why some other ones I do not like. And that's where we're gonna start. So tip-up lights, obviously, tried and true. Can't really, you know, foolproof, fail-proof. Having just a tip-up light on your stick there, you're gonna see it. Now, two problems with that. You can't really go to sleep with it because you can't be woken up by a light. And two, sometimes you catch yourself, wait, how long has it been since I looked at the tip-ups? Oh no, you know, oh, and now the light has been up, has the flag been up for 10 minutes, 20 minutes? I can't remember the last time I looked. There's some downsides to it, is what I've been realizing in the last couple years now that I've been running more and more tip-ups. So your next step is alarms. Your next cheapest option, which cheap is in quotes there, are blue tips. You can get them at like Fleet Farm, Walmart and stuff. We used those last year's and immediately there was a break in the trust. We got a false alarm a couple times and we had one no trip when the flag was up. And that was enough for me to be like, I don't care what happened today. If this is a possibility on the ice, I want nothing to do with them. Now, that's not to say someone else out there has had great success. We had 2 blue tips that went on the flags and we had a receiver for them in the shack. I don't know, I lost trust right away, so then I caught myself, even with the blue tip on there, I still put a light on them. It was just like a whole thing. So I wanted to move away from blue tips, and ultimately, fishing with Hunter, who had these vultures, I realized there's no better option. So we ran, or I was gifted, thank you everyone, thank you Jordan, for the Vulture system. I was gonna buy it this year, they got it for me. I have 3 transmitters, I got 1 receiver, and I can't wait to run them. Now I know a bunch about them already because I've run them with Hunter, I got the trust in the system. There's like 2 things that make this system better than anything else in my mind, and that's what I'm gonna stick to as far as this video goes. If you guys need like a whole how-to and all the options and stuff, I'm sure there's a better video out there, and if not, I will make one upcoming if you want one. But there's two options to this whole setup that just really make me fall in love with the vultures. I'm going to start with what's in the box. We're gonna talk about the first thing that makes me love them, and then the second thing that makes me love them, and then we're gonna wrap this video up. So let's start with what's in the box when you get it. If you get like a setup, obviously you can buy a receiver by itself, you can buy a transmitter by itself, but if you buy one set, what's gonna come in the box is a transmitter. You're gonna get these little plates here, a plate that comes with it that you can screw it on. Now, I'm not positive this is how I want my IFish Pro set up, but it's there. All of last year, you can see it in some of the videos, you know, this was just kind of like sitting off to the side, and the magnet was still hooked up to the flag. But regardless, you'll get a transmitter, you'll get the little box, you'll get the receiver, and then you will also get these little pawn-looking things with the new ones that have a magnet in the bottom. Now, it's as simple, it gets complicated. There's a lot of complexity to this that I am not gonna touch today. There are dip switches inside to set new options and different options. You can look at the sheet that comes with to tell you what those options do, but as default is what I'm gonna show you today. So it's as simple as this. You take your receiver, you hold the two buttons down till it beeps. Oh, I think I had it on already. It was already on. There's a power button. Go ahead and hold that power button down till she boots up. Oops. There we go. Receiver is booted up, and then it is as simple as setting a magnet on top. You see the green light flashes, boom, you're ready to go. You're ready to be fishing. Now let me set this tip up here as just an example. Out of the box default, this is how it's gonna act. Fish takes it, magnet gets pulled off, you get your red light, and you get an alarm. The alarm on the receiver shows you which tip up is up. They're numbered, I've numbered them. When you pair them to the receiver, you put them on here, so you can have up to 6 on a receiver. You can acknowledge the alarm. That is the first thing that I love about these. Now you can take your time putting your hat on, you can take your time getting your pliers and everything together, getting out to the tip up, and you don't have something beeping at you the whole time like the blue tips. The blue tips with a receiver, you can't mute that receiver. So until you get out to that flag and you pull it off, you set it down and or you reset your tip up, it's just beeping inside the shack. So being able to acknowledge the alarm pretty much sold it to me to begin with. And then the second thing, the second most important thing is if you're like me, you need a little like reflector stick, or you leave a bucket by your tip ups. You mark your tip ups so that no one runs it over in the middle of the night or driving by or being dumb. They can see it. Well, with these and the remote, you can just hold the power button down. It'll beep. And now you have a big bright light sticking off your tip up or pointing at your tip up. It's called a flashlight in their settings and in their options, but you have a light, a big bright light that, I set it off, that can be your marker so that people don't run them over in the middle of the night. And that light can stay on forever. You can turn it off again with the remote. If you connect your phone, which the newer models, you should see this little blue symbol in the middle. You can connect your phone. There's a couple more options with that from your phone. I haven't really set it up or played with it much, but you can turn all your lights on at once. So if you have all 6 out, and they're out, spread out, and all of a sudden you hear some traffic, you can go in your phone, you can click turn all lights on, it'll just turn all lights on for you. That's super handy as well. But ultimately, those 2 reasons alone were enough to sell me on these tip-up alarms over everything else. Number 1, being able to mute that. Number 2, being able to turn a flashlight on and make sure no one runs them over. Now, one last thing I will say, you can see that I have it hooked up here, and the magnet got pulled off by this alligator clip. This does not come with it. I think in the directions they tell you to like tie some fishing line on there. Now that's problematic because with fishing line, it could get knotted up, it could get tangled up, it could wrap your line, and there's like that magnet comes flying off, you know, and if you're using fishing line, it can be a bit of a problem. I went with 30-pound steel leaders. they are stiff enough that they don't twist up, not tangle with anything. And I have 2 sizes, so I bought 2. I have 18 inches, I believe, and 9 inches. These are the 2 sizes that I got at Walmart. Now, the 9 inches, as you can see here, is if I'm gonna go with this plate on my IFish Pros like this. I'm gonna use the shorter ones, but ultimately, if I don't like where this is or the fishing line's getting caught on this tip-up alarm, I will run, you know, shush. I will run the longer ones, and we'll just set this on the ground in front of the tip-up, you know, something like that. And it'll act the same. This is how we've been running it. You've seen it in my videos before, and this is how it is. It's just kind of sitting there on the edge of the hole, and the magnet comes off. The magnet's not very strong. It's just strong enough to move a little washer in there. So ultimately, if you're gonna buy this setup, know that you're gonna need some clips. I like using these steel eaters for 2 reasons. One, they come with a little swivel, or they come with the little clips on the end so that you can put like an alligator clip on there like I have here. If you didn't even want to use the alligator clip, you could ultimately strap this thing on there with the clips that come on a leader, and then I just hot glued the other side. So that's about it. There are, you know, you could talk about these vulture systems for another 2 hours probably. I mean, when you open them up, I'll show a little image of what it looks like on the inside. There's a set of dip switches on the top left. You could, in the directions, it shows you what all those dip switches do, whether they're on or they're off, and in a certain combination, they do certain things. So it's definitely worth a look for you guys. Here, let me turn this one off real quick completely, power it down. And then, you know, with the receiver, you just sensor shutdown is an option. It starts beeping at you. You hold the one you want to shut down on, or you hold that button down, it'll start quickly flashing. And now that tip-up transmitter is off, and the batteries aren't running or anything. And if you don't turn the little dip switch off that you see inside there, it's as easy as setting a magnet back on top of it to turn it back on and use it again. So right now this one's off, shut it down. And then my receiver can be shut down. And you're good to go. And then at the end of the night, you know, you take your alligator clips and you clip them on here. Nice and organized and neat, and you're good to go, just like that. You're ready for your next trip. But ultimately, love the vultures. Want to share it with you guys. I had never heard of them until Hunter. I don't know if you guys have heard of them either, but there's a link down to the Amazon page below if you want to get them off there, if you want to get them from a different store. I know some bait shops carry them. You can find them in bait shops in stores. You can do that as well, but ultimately, this is where I leave you guys. So hopefully you guys give me some good advice here on the tip-up setup. You know, you got to work your way up from that as minimal setup as you can get to pin that minnow down there. But you guys let me know what you do. And ultimately, if you have any other questions, put them down below. And if enough questions come through, I will make a complete how-to video with these guys, with all the dip switch options, all of the things you can do with it, and the remote. But ultimately, I cannot wait to get back on the ice. So this is where I leave you guys. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you on the ice.